Today on the patio, we're doing a couple different things. First and foremost, I'm sharing with you an update on my failed turkey roaster experiment. I tried to hold a brisket overnight in a turkey roaster and it didn't quite go as planned. You guys lit up the comment section and shared a whole bunch of tips. So I've redone that and we've learned something and I've got some updates to share there. Additionally, not too long ago, I did a couple videos where I picked up Rodney Scott's vinegar sauce and his rubs. Then I decided, well, I'm gonna go pick up his book. And in that book, there's a vinegar sauce recipe. I don't know if it's the one he uses in the restaurant, but he uses white vinegar. My vinegar sauce has apple cider vinegar in it. So today, we're gonna try the difference between exact same sauce, apple cider, and white vinegar. I've got a beautiful pork butt that I smoked yesterday on the Kimono. It's been holding for about 20 hours now. So let's get into it. What's up, barbecue fans? My name is Jake, and today we're doing a couple things. I've got to bring you up to speed because I actually cooked the pork butt yesterday, so I want to describe that process for you just so we're all on the same page here. So yesterday, I got out a big old 7-pound, it might be an 8-pound pork butt, cross-hatched the top of that, put on a rub, and then what I did is I came out to the Kimono and I put some hickory, Bear Mountain hickory chunks on the bottom. Then we put in some lump, then we got out our Grill Blazer grill gun and we lit our lump, got that going. And then what I did is I put a big old piece, that hickory chunks on the top of the lump, and we put our pork butt on. I cooked our pork butt at 275 on the Kimono, and I actually left for the day. I had a couple things going on. I smoked that until we're about 195. So I actually pushed it quite high. And then what I did is I got out some foil and we wrapped it in foil. Now you can see the top of it got a little dark, not a problem because I knew I was resting it for a long time. So it was a little, maybe just a tad crunchy, but we got some great bark on there. And I think it's gonna be pretty darn good. I wrapped it in foil, I didn't add anything to the foil, and then I put it in the turkey roaster. So when I did my brisket video, I assumed, you know what happens when we assume. I looked at the gauge and I saw 150 and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna sit at 150, and I didn't think twice about it. Big mistake on my part. But what happened was 150, I came down the next morning and my brisket was at like 200 degrees or something like that, and it was way hotter than I expected. I mean, the brisket turned out actually not too bad, all things considered, but I was a little worried that that turkey roaster was not gonna work out. You guys lit up the comments and you told me a couple different things. First and foremost, you said, put some water in the bottom of it. So I put about an inch of water in the bottom of it. And then the other thing you said is check the ambient temperature, forget it what the dial says, use a temperature probe and lock it in. Use your dial, forget what the dial says, and lock it in into your desired temperature. So with that being said, I let it preheat and everything, and I locked it in at about 153, which was a great holding temperature. I checked it a few times throughout the night and it locked right in. So thank you for helping me. I mean, it's great. You guys in the comments, I mean, I always pay attention to them, but you know, when you give me good advice that actually makes sense, I follow it, right? I'm trying to share advice with you guys. If you give me some good feedback in the comment section, I read them. I mean, at this point in time, I've responded to every single comment. I think I'm up to 80,000 comments that I've responded to over the last 4 years. So I do pay attention. And if you've got something valuable, I do use it. So we did that, and that was about 20 hours ago at this point. So then we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this video. I started to make my vinegar sauce. Now I have a recipe that I used. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you, but I did the exact same recipe, exact same measurements, and the only thing that I changed is I substituted apple cider vinegar for white vinegar, right? So I'll go over the recipe with you real quick and give you a quick how-to. It's super, super easy to do. And I mean, it's gonna take you like 15 minutes. You do have to let it cool down. And I'll tell you, I did not let this cool down the first time I made it. And I put it into a mason jar and I had it in the sink. And when I poured it in there, the glass instantly shattered and I lost my vinegar sauce. So this is what's in this sauce. 2 cups of vinegar, 1 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of crushed red pepper, 1 teaspoon of fresh cracked black pepper, 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground mustard, 1 teaspoon of celery salt, 2 teaspoons of molasses. Side note, molasses is in a lot of stuff. It stinks. Like, every time I use it, I'm like, man, this smells terrible. Apparently it tastes good. I've never tasted it by itself, but 2 teaspoons of brown sugar and then 4 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. I used W sauce. I love W sauce. Not sponsored. It's some great stuff. If you like Worcestershire sauce, the W sauce is just next level. But you could use either or. Then what you do is you give it a quick stir and gently bring it up to a simmer. And what you want here is you want just a slow rolling simmer here. We're trying to get all the flavors married together here. We're not trying to evaporate a whole bunch of water out of there and lose our volume of our vinegar sauce. So a nice gentle roll, simmering roll for about 10 minutes. After that, turn it off and then let it cool down. It's gonna take a little while to cool down. So let it cool down for half hour or so before you put it into another container, and then you can use it right then or put it in your fridge. It's got ketchup and vinegar in there. It's gonna last for months. So this is, the recipe I just gave you is actually a double batch. It makes a jar about this big, fairly skinny one, but it will go a while. You could cut that in half if you want, but because it lasts so long, no need to do that. Let's go get our pork. So here's our turkey roaster. So this thing cost $119 from Amazon. And the first thing we know is don't pay attention to the dial because the dial lies. So here's what I did. I put 1 inch of water on there. I didn't want the meat sitting in there. And then all I did was, after it's going for a little while, I just stuck this inside and let it sit. So you can see right now we're at like 146. I unplugged it. We were running at 153 all night long, right? So that gives us an idea. There is a little hole here you can also use. I'd put it inside, but again, we're up to 146 as well. Some people said drill a hole and put a little analog one there, but I didn't want to go through that hassle. So that'll work. And for reference, let me get some gloves on here. I'm gonna put some cotton gloves on here. Obviously it's hot. Put on some of these guys. Again, guys, best deal on the internet. Check out Clean Space Project. The link will be below. You can get like 10 boxes of 100 gloves for like 79 bucks or something like that. You will not find, and I mean, they're strong. Like, they don't rip. I use them for all sorts of things outside of cooking. If I don't feel like washing my hands, weeding, or washing the cars or something like that. So, take this guy off. Obviously it's hot. Put that over here like so. I've got dogs around me. Okay, and then what's happening here is, in this thing, I could get 2 pork butts and probably a brisket on top. Just to give you an idea, I want to make sure I bought a really big one. We'll take this out. There is a rack in here. You can see it only sits about 1 inch high, and I've got some water left in here, and that way it sits outside of the water. Put that in there, we'll clean it up. Let's look at our pork here. And I didn't put any liquid in with this, I just wrapped it tight and forgot about it. Oh yeah. Whoop, we know it's tender. Pulled up out of there just like so. Obviously it's falling apart. We're gonna shred this real quick. Oh man, that's good. And the great thing here is, just like brisket, you can hold this overnight for a long time. Ideally, I'm going to tell you that you want to wrap it closer to 180, 175. I like to push it past the 165 that's traditional just to get a little bit more smoke flavor on it. But if you wrap it a little sooner than I did, what'll happen is you'll have a whole bunch of fat rendered out in the bottom of it. So it's just going to add some more moisture to it. You could absolutely, and I've done this a few times, just pour in your vinegar sauce. It's still moist. Don't get me wrong, but can it be too moist? Just want to mix this up really good. I got a lot of good flavor into the bark on top of that guy. Pull this off. So here's what we got. We got an A for apple cider vinegar, and we have nothing for the white vinegar. I need a spoon. All right, so we got a spoon here. I'm gonna spoon a little bit of sauce on here. I'm very curious about this. I've always used apple cider vinegar, so let me give this one a good shake too. The funny thing is, when I was thinking about the thumbnail for this video, I was like, oh, you're gonna see two different shades of vinegar sauce, but there's ketchup in it, so you can't really tell. But I did label it because I knew I was gonna mix them up. So what I'm gonna do here is I'll get a little bit of pork here, two little piles here, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, oh, I already forgot. This is the white vinegar. A little in there. Apple cider vinegar. All right, so I'm gonna try the way that I always do it with apple cider vinegar first. Make sure I get a bunch on there. That, my friends, is a great vinegar sauce. I started making this, I don't know, a year or so ago. Was never a very big vinegar sauce guy. This stuff is banging. All right, exactly what I expect. Let's try this guy. Cheers. Let's wash our palate. Or cleanse, if you want to be so sophisticated. There's definitely a pretty significant difference. Don't worry, I'll give you guys some. Hold on. Dogs are going nuts. Hang on a second here. Drop some in there. They're both quite good, but drop some in there again. Pretty interesting difference. The best way I can describe it is that with apple cider vinegar, it's like a punch you in the face vinegar. Very bold, powerful. You can absolutely taste the vinegar in it. With the white vinegar, you still get that vinegar taste, but it's actually more balanced. It's not like, I think the vinegar, I mean, I like the sauce, but I think the vinegar is almost overpowering, whereas this one, it's really nice balance. It kind of blends in with your pork. It's not over the top. I'm thinking I might make it with white vinegar going forward. I didn't think it'd make that big of a difference, but it is significant. It is definitely far more balanced and not so punchy in the face as the apple cider vinegar is. They're both good. You're gonna have to try them to figure out if you like them or which one you like, but I think you might lean towards the white vinegar. Hopefully you got some value out of this video. Look, if you're looking to make some amazing food on the Kamado, I got you covered. Check out this video right here. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you soon.